Time now to dig into all of the above with former federal prosecutor Jonathan Fahey and Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Gentlemen, before we get into the conversation, I want to share with you a little sound from the former Vice President Mike Pence. He talked about this idea that maybe we ought to be careful how we frame this. I want you to listen to what the former VP had to say, and then you can weigh in.
Congress has every right to ask whatever questions that they want to ask. But I think beginning with the premise that even bad decisions by state and local government are still an element of our federalism in the country. So I just want them to temper their inquiries to respect federalism.
Jonathan, this is one of those circumstances where I think if you're an attorney, or even if you're not an attorney, you have to be wondering, have we jumped the shark, to use the old Happy Days expression? Tell me where we go from here, and is the VP right that maybe we ought to be backing out for this?
Yeah, this whole thing is, we're in new territory, and maybe we have jumped the shark here because, with these investigations and with these potential charges, at least for what we know about, these are misdemeanor charges that occurred, events that occurred 7+ years ago. So It really is, an extraordinary thing to be prosecuting for a new prosecutor. But I think, the vice president's point was good, but there is an interest in Congress inquiring about this because this will affect the next presidential election. So it certainly is legitimate for them to ask, why is this prosecutor doing something so extraordinarily unusual in terms of prosecutions, and what effect on the election will it have?
Tom, I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curveball here because there is a sentiment out there that this isn't really about a conviction. This is about getting fingerprints and a mugshot because that's really the best they can probably hope for because legally they know they're on shaky ground.
My understanding is that the process is almost insurmountable in terms of being able to stop it. So it's going to happen unless something extraordinary happens. The governor of New York, for instance, intervenes. But with all due respect to the Vice President Pence, there is urgency for Congress to figure out what's going on here. If you have a corrupt prosecutor, and I think this is corruption, seeking to make the former president into a political prisoner who's currently running for president, Congress has a right and it should demand answers. We have this report about the Secret Service being, being put in the middle of this. We pay for it. And frankly, any federal funds going to this abusive justice system in New York, Congress has got to figure out what's going on and making sure, in the least, tax dollars from the U.S. aren't being used and misused to abuse, in my view, the civil rights of an innocent man.
And that investigation will continue. Very quickly, I want to run by you all, both of you, the Wall Street Journal editorial board. This is from Thursday. Pandora's Donald Trump prosecution. This was fairly interesting. He will add this to the list of false Russian claims, 2 failed impeachments, and the FBI's Mar-a-Lago document raid. Whether that political defense succeeds will depend on how the case evolves in court and what will be a media circus for the ages, I'll say. Mr. Trump's reckless personal behavior has made himself vulnerable as usual, but Democratic excess could rescue him again. 15 seconds each. Does the Journal have it right?
Yeah, there will the overreaction to all of his everything, every step of the way. The overreaction is so disproportionate to the conduct, and again, to prosecute 7-year-old misdemeanors, which they're not doing probably with anybody else in New York. This is really an extraordinary overreaction.
Tom?
I mean, the idea that it's a crime that he didn't use campaign funds to take care of a personal issue is absurd. Trump is a crime victim, and it may be a political issue when he starts raising these various abuses he suffered, but the legal system has failed America in how they've treated Trump.
Certainly a change in the air. Jonathan and Tom, gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate that.